Hey there, Contractor Kev with Overseas Contractor Academy. And yes, we are still back. Didn't get canceled yet from YouTube, so that's always good news. But hey, today we want to talk about the difference between making six figures overseas versus making six figures stateside. And that's basically the benchmark that a lot of people should be shooting for when first going overseas is a six-figure salary. I'm not saying every position and every person is always going to make six figures. You could make slightly less, you could make slightly more, whatever, you know, just in the course we cover all that. But I think it's really illuminating to kind of look at overseas versus stateside for just a minute to see why you go overseas instead of staying stateside. So let's roll the bumper video that I love so much, and I'll see you in 12 seconds. Okay, so when you're overseas versus stateside, you know, because what spurred this, quite honestly, what gave me the idea to do this video is someone wrote, like, I'm already making six figures stateside. Why will I go overseas and make that? Here's why. The main thing is that all of your normal costs do not apply. And what I mean by that is when you're stateside, the very first thing is you've got taxes coming off the top. And then for most people, the biggest expenses are housing expense. So now you've got your rent or your house payment. You've got homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance. Then you have all the bills associated with your house. The second biggest payment, obviously, is going to be your car. And then you have your cable, your electric, your mobile, all these kinds of bills that you do not have overseas. Like, the government covers all those costs. So let's look at a quick example and just kind of run down what the difference would be. So according to a leading researcher, basically, if you're going to be making $100,000 stateside, you're probably going to be in about the 22 to 24% tax bracket, and it really depends on if you're married and file joint, file, you know, married, single, whatever the hell you do. Let's just say 24%. So that's 24% off the top that you're not going to get. So that's $24,000 a year out of your 100. So for your next biggest expense is rent, and so a really smart bald-head guy wearing a, don't call it a comeback shirt, researched this extensively and found out that the average rent payment across the US is about $1,250 a month. So that is, survey says, $15,000 a year. So then that comes off the top. You're gonna have an average car payment in the US of $475. That one kind of surprised me, and that just shows you how cheap I am. I do not ever envision myself paying $475 a month for a car, but that is the average car payment right now in the US. And so that totals out to about $5,700 a year. And then you're gonna have your food. Now, I vastly underestimated this, especially for me, but we're gonna say $300 per month. So that's $3,600 a year. Easy enough, times 12. And we're gonna say the same $300 a month for entertainment. Now, I'm gonna lump under that any cable, gym membership, whatever your hobbies are. Entertainment, that kind of falls under entertainment to me. It's like watching TV, your hobbies, whatever it is. We're just gonna say everything total $300 a month. So another $3,600 a year. The next after that, of course, you have your electric, you have your phone, you have your internet. You're gonna have, for your vehicle, all the fuel that you gotta put in, pay insurance, any tire changes, oil changes, all that kind of stuff. So we'll try to total that out right over there to come up with a grand total of you're screwed. Okay, so basically, out of the $100,000 you make in the States, you're going to end up with about $20,000 of it left over after you pay the mandatory things. Now, of course, this does ignore the possibility that you have some kind of unexpected bill. this is just that we know like known, recurring, obvious things. And so of course it's most likely over the course of a year that there's probably going to be something that costs a few grand. But yeah, 20%, that's what you're left with. So you've got 20% to save or invest if everything goes perfect. And I mean everything. You're living a very average life. You have an average car payment instead of a nice ass car payment. And you don't really eat out very much, in restaurants and stuff. That's not traveling anywhere for vacation, all these kind of limitations. So it's not very realistic, quite honestly. I would say realistically, if you make $100,000 a year in the States, you might have 10 to 15 at the best that you put in your retirement account or an investment account or whatever you're doing, building some kind of something for the future that you're hopefully putting money away for. Okay, so now let's contrast that with $100,000 earned overseas, because like I said, I've had friends that are like, I'm on 110 where I'm at, in the States. They only offered me 90 to go to Kuwait. Why would I take a pay cut and go overseas? Here's why. What's your rent cost? Well, first we'll start with the biggest. What's your taxes over there? 0. What's your rent cost? 0. What about transport to get back and forth to work? No car payment, no car needed. They're going to give you one. 0. What about fuel? 0. What about internet? 0. Phone? 0. Are you noticing a pattern here? So basically, you're going to make 6 figures overseas, and if you really want to, you're going to save 6 figures. And so is nowhere near comparable to I make 6 figures at home versus I make 6 figures overseas. This is why going overseas is so powerful. It is the single best way to turbocharge your savings and basically build the capital to do something else with your life other than what you're doing right now. So if you need to dig out of a hole, you've got debts, you've got student loans, you want to start a business, you want to go back to school, you got stuff you got to improve on your house, you've got a car that's falling apart in the driveway, whatever it is, man, this is the way to build up the cash to address those things and build your nest egg for the future, because you simply don't have anything coming out of your paychecks. Where, a normal life in the US, by the time you give your money back to its proper owners, you've got 10-15% of it left over. Overseas, I personally, when I first started, I had some debts and I addressed all that. I started off saving at about 75%, and then after the first few months of paying everything, I was saving at a rate of about 90% of everything I earned, because I would take very nice, very extensive R&R breaks, and I would go to Thailand. I would go overseas and really just have that, I'm a millionaire for 3 weeks experience, where it's super nice hotel right on the beach, and I'm balling and buying drinks, and I'm the life of the party guy. And that's how I wanted to live, because I wanted that just go wild, because now you're on break kind of experience. But you don't have to do that, but I did. But even doing that, I saved 90% of what I made. So I really quickly piled up quite a lot of savings, and I would say most contractors, that is the normal state of things. So hey man, as always, roll up your sleeves and get your ass to work, get yourself an overseas contractor job, and change your life. Remember, you're just one contract away.